Okay. Hello, I'm Carla Mechele, and I wanted to do a movie review. I've never done one of these, but I just watched The Last Black Man in San Francisco, and I was so moved. I just wanted to share like my thoughts on some of the symbolism of the movie, and see if anybody else related to that. So it's been so long since I've looked at a movie in this way, but it was so artistic and so beautifully shot and directed. Like it was just gorgeous, and I it just reminded me of school and interpreting what those symbols mean. So anyway, chime in, please. Share your thoughts in the comments. But first, I have to start with Monty, who was a Jesus figure for me throughout the whole film. It started off, I got that thought when one of the guys on the block started clowning him and compared him to Jesus. He was like, "Yo, Jesus looking self," or then he picked on his shoes, and so that kind of caught my attention because it's like, why does he think of him this way? And then there was a shot of him alone in the boat, looking. He was out on the water. The shot was looking out at the water and him in the boat. And it just reminded me of the scene where the disciples met Jesus on the water, where he said, "Come follow me." Also, when he took them out to fish, he said, "I will make you fishers of men." So, just that scene just immediately made that pop into my mind. And then, as we go along the story, it seemed like some people could see Monty and some couldn't. Uh, for sure, some people didn't engage with him and some did. Like when he was meeting with the realtor saw him, but he didn't really talk to him much. And then there were other people in the film who just totally didn't even acknowledge that he was standing there right beside Jimmy. So it was kind of like, do they see him or not? But the guys on the block did see him. And of course, the big scene where Kofi and the other guy are about to go at it, and Monty steps in, but also the fact that Monty was watching them. He was watching them. And I know eventually he does a play about them, but for me, it was just symbolic of the fact that Jesus is with us and watching us no matter where we are. If you're his, if he was sent here to connect with you, if you're one of God's, then he's with you always. So especially in the moments where you don't think he is, and he's watching over, right? So I already got this feeling. And of course, when he stepped in and he comforted Kofi, he there was confusion going on, and he kind of actually the attention went on him. They started clowning him instead and saying how weird he was and like, get out of here. But he diffused the situation. He calmed them down, and then he left, and it really impacted Kofi. You could see how he was looking after him as he left, right? So then next thing you know, Monty invites Kofi back to the house with Jimmy. And there are different things that they say. I didn't write them down. I don't know exactly, but it was just, it kept the theme going. So when they're in the house, and then they invite Kofi over, and Kofi was like, he bonded with them there. And it seemed like that was the self that he was kind of afraid to show to the other guys. And Monty was still kind of watching him and just knowing him, knowing who he is, right? His mannerisms, the things he says, like Jesus does, right? And to me, it was like Jesus knows us, and he comes to us in a way that we can recognize, right? To each individual person. He knows what we're into, and he will come to us in those things. So then, after that, they see Kofi and the guys on the block, and Kofi completely changes, right? He's talking trash. He's clowning them. Like, he says some of the most hurtful stuff to Jimmy. And he's basically like, you're not better than us now that you have this house. And it hurt Jimmy. Like he said, you know, your mama is a crackhead, your daddy is, you're nothing. Basically, like they came up together. He's just trying to remind him, like, you know, that you're not better. He's kind of threatened by the fact that he's leaving the group, right? And also, he's had a taste of where Jimmy is going. So to now be back on the block, he probably feels like extra ashamed because he's experienced something different, and maybe he doesn't know how to get there on his own. So anyway, all of this, and even Monty was hurt. Like you see him shriek, like to hear those words come out of Kofi's mouth. And to me, that just symbolizes the betrayal. Like once Jesus was crucified, and the disciples who had been with him, or even Judas betraying him, just that betrayal of knowing who Jesus was, experiencing him, knowing he's the Son of God, but quickly being able to change to please the men around you, the humans around you. So I felt that then. And then, oh my goodness, when they went back to the house, and Jimmy was like in the kitchen making something, and then Monty was he was drawing the picture of the guys, and Jimmy was like, "You still drawing them? Why are you drawing them when they were talking bad about us?" And Monty said, "When I first met you, you were talking trash too." That part, I was like, this is Jesus. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's just really no words for that. It's just the truth, right? And even the truth as a theme. When Monty came up, and I think like one of the first few scenes, the first scene with the guys and Monty and Jimmy walking up, and he whispered something in the guys' the guys were debating something, and then Monty walked up and he was like, "That's not true." So it's kind of like Monty is also, okay, this nurturing figure, this Christ-like figure, but he does it through the truth. He's not lying to people. And he has to get to the truth. He has to share the truth. Oh, okay. So if that was enough, then it's like as the story's going on, oh man, it was so sad to see how Jimmy's family is disjointed, how he could have almost missed his mother on the bus, and knowing that she's back in town and he had no idea. And did she try to find him for 3 months? No. And then she's kind of insinuating she's going to come visit him, and he kind of knows she's not. And that was just heartbreaking. And you just see Jimmy go through that, like, this is routine to him, but also he feels it. And then she did speak to Monty, right? And so to me, when these characters who we see are flawed, I mean, all the characters are flawed, of course, but the ones who seem to be kind of captured in their flaw, to where they're harming others and not really making amends for it, she seems to be a character like that for me. But even she still sees Monty, to me, Jesus. She still has a relationship with Jesus. She's still able to see him. And that's how I view life also. Like, just because a person is struggling or they are blinded in the moment does not mean they don't know God. So then as the story continues to go, I was wondering, like, who is Danny Glover, and does he see Monty? And so then I realized, yes, he does. And this is his son, grandson. Did they say? If they said grandson, I missed it. But if that is his father, then it kind of clicked to me like, wow, Danny Glover could be God. A God figure, because, of course, you know, of his wisdom and his humility in that place. But that moment where Monty decides to move in and leave that home, he decides to move in with Jimmy. It was symbolic to me of Jesus leaving his place with God and entering earth in order to save us. And so we know, like, if you're a believer, that Jesus asked to be an intercessor for us. So he came to earth, and God grieved that. He wanted to save us. He loved us, but it grieved him for his son to leave him and come to save us, right? So it's kind of like that's how I saw Monty leaving his home and moving in with Jimmy, which also speaks to the fact that Jesus goes with us, like the valley of the shadow of death. He doesn't belong there, but while we're there, if we believe, he is with us. And I don't want to speak on, like, if you don't believe he's not. I can't say that, but all I know is if you are his, he never lets you go, no matter where you are, right? So then, the heartbreaking part. It's like the lies become shattered. Jimmy visits his dad, and then we kind of see there, like, I was wondering, like, why is he lying about not skating anymore? Like, is he selling his skateboard? He left it with the man that was singing on the street. But then, and he had those gold glasses and a whole different outfit. And I was kind of like, is he changing his tune? Like, why is he all of a sudden now not skating or telling his dad he doesn't skate? And so I felt like, okay, he had just moved into the place. Maybe now he's trying to change some things around. And then the conversation with his dad was eye-opening because it's like, oh, this is what they do. And he's literally his earthly father. He's just modeling his life after his. He wants to do better, but he's believing what he has learned from his earthly father, right? And he's living out of that. So just to jump forward a little bit, when that lie comes crashing down, it's just like how when Jesus comes into our lives, when they say, I once was blind, now I see, all of those lies get disrupted. All of those things we thought we knew about who we are, the lies that the devil planted, sometimes through our family relationships and the things that were passed down. But Jesus gives a different level of truth that opens your eyes. So it's like once Jimmy finally faced the lies that he grew up with and was able to call it that, which was hard for him, but once the Christ figure, Monty, made him see that, he had a choice to make. But we'll get to that further. But anyway, this symbolized like him going to his father, and then the viewer starts to realize, oh, he's squatting in this house, and he's kind of asking his dad for advice, like, how can I make sure I don't get caught, and kind of seeking his validation a little bit, like, because this is what they share in common, like this is what makes them father and son, right? And then also his mother has totally abandoned him. So even though his father has his struggles and everybody talks bad about him, this is what Jimmy knows as, this is the one who stuck with me though, right? So it was sad after that, after he left and he got on his skateboard and went home. So the issues about gentrification, all of that are very relevant too. To me, that's more of the, I won't say shallow, but those are the things that everybody can kind of catch because it may be happening in our communities, and it's like very current, worldly, trending type of topic, and it's very real too. But to me, this other stuff was like really deep, beyond those things. So that's why I'm not touching on the gentrification stuff too much. It's pretty explicit. You see what's going on, right? I will say just the lady crying on the property like it was hers. Since we know eventually that this was not actually Jimmy's grandfather's home, then it's kind of like it just shows she also had an attachment to this house, and that homes give attachment, you know. Home is a feeling, right? Home, the sense of home in general is like God. If we belong to him, he is our home, and we're constantly trying to find that again. Okay, so then, all right, the play. Oh man, the daddy comes back. You see him in the house. Um, he also sees Monty. The gathering of all the characters and people who, up until this point, we've kind of gotten to know a little bit. And I thought it was interesting that the play, Monty made it about Kofi, but that was kind of the thing that they could all see and feel. Kofi was an everyday person that they could relate to. And so he kind of brought them in with that. And then the truth, the thing that he wanted to address was Jimmy and say, Jimmy, you will be okay once you realize and accept the truth that this is not your granddaddy's house. And it was like, oh, it was so sad how Jimmy was like, don't tell me, I don't want to know, because he already knew, right? But sometimes it is scary to walk in the truth. It's very scary because you don't know what's ahead, right? You only know what you have known. So you cling to what you want to believe so that reality isn't so cruel and harsh. But Jesus is the thing that makes our harsh reality livable. And it, I always say, like, him coming into my life made it feel like there was no bottom anymore. It's like even at the bottom, even at your lowest, you can still have joy, which is remarkable. It's something only he could do. So, all right, to wrap this thing up, so other points of symbolism. Okay, once they have the play and Jimmy is facing the reality, then the final moment. Okay, so once Monty did his job, you don't see him for a few scenes, right? His job was to tell Jimmy the truth. And then Jimmy kind of goes around. He's talking to his auntie, and she's, connecting with him again. And then there was a scene. Oh, yeah. So then, of course, where does Jimmy find Monty? At the deck again. The dock. At the dock before the water. And again, that just reminded me, it's kind of like that scene when Jesus was first calling his disciples, and he said, come follow me. And he told them to leave. Oh, didn't even realize this part. He told them to leave their possessions behind and follow him. And it was very hard for some people to leave their possessions. So they had to think about it like, man, is it worth it? Wow, it hadn't even hit me. Jimmy had to leave that house behind to come follow him, right? And that's when him and Monty hugged. And he was just like, it was all love. And then, it was around this time, when Kofi got killed, and Jimmy said, he said, I felt like it could have been me if it hadn't been for this house. Now, at first, when I didn't know quite yet that wasn't his granddaddy's house, I was thinking the house was a symbolism for God's kingdom and the protection of it. But that can go either way because it ends up that the house is just a possession. So then after Jimmy and Monty embrace and they go back, he welcomes him home with the father into Monty's home. So them three sitting on the couch, it was like Jesus, God, and Jimmy. And to me, that felt like when you first start to know Jesus or you have a spiritual experience, it is so overwhelming that you don't really feel like you deserve it. It doesn't feel like you belong there. It feels like it's too much. Like I can't sustain this. Like I can feel this once and then I need to go back to whatever I was doing because I can't sustain this and I'm not worthy of this. And that is how it looked when I saw them all three on the couch, right? Monty and Danny Glover's character are just like vibing, like watching TV, like they back home, like, and that's Jesus and God. And then, but the part that got me though, the end, it's like all throughout the movie, I was feeling this very strong, like Christ-like figure, and the symbolism matching up with, Jesus's journey and the truth of him. And then at the end, I was a little confused. But I will say this. So it was sad. Jimmy left, right? And I think that happens. It's true. Like, we have those moments in life where Jesus calls us and we embrace him. And then we try to go out and do stuff on our own again. Okay, it makes sense. We try to go out on our own. I just had to realize that that's what I do in order to see this in this movie. But we do that. So you see Jimmy out there in the boat again, and he left that message and said, it was so hard for me to say goodbye, but thank you for being my best friend. And you know that feeling when you have a best friend, like they've been such a good friend to you, and you like, there's no way I could be that good of a friend to them. And you might think you're a really good friend, but this one friend is like, dang, like they are such a good friend. I cannot do that. And so you might kind of feel cheap about some things, or, have a little shame, like, and so you don't always face them the way you should. To me, that's what Jimmy did when he left. And Monty went after him. Monty looked out on the water. Now, what I really thought was going to happen is a walk on water situation. Like, that would have made it full circle, or like a situation where Monty actually saved Jimmy when the boat capsized or something. But it didn't have to do all that to still be what I saw. And so I was just so happy. I mean, this was a brilliant portrayal. I have no idea if this is what the directors meant in the story. I don't know if they believe or what, but this is what I saw. So I just wanted to share that. Even if you didn't see that, I think it's a brilliant movie because obviously there's a lot of truth in it. And I think the truth is what connects all of us. So anyway, that's it for my review of The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Watch it if you haven't. And if you have, please share your thoughts about what you saw, what you experienced, how you felt. All right. Bye. I guess I could say like and subscribe to my channel, like this video. I never really say that, but I'm saying it now. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.